Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another video. We are back on the extension builds. Me, Kenneth, and Tristan is here with us today, giving us a hand. Today is the day as far as removing the walls, breaking through. So we're going to start that today. We're expecting our steels hopefully this week, but we're making preparations to get it ready. So as soon as it comes in, the day it comes in, we're ready to just try and put it in. So we've already boarded up the building. So we're going to start taking out the existing sliding door and window. We're taking the window out already, actually, taking the kitchen wall cabinets off the wall. We're going to take that door out. And what I'm going to show you guys today, I want to talk you through supporting the house. Okay, things to look about, things to think of, ways to be safe and make sure that you secure the house properly. There's lots of different ways. You can use needle props, you can use acro props, you can use scaffold systems, these external scaffolding systems. Those different ways. I'm using the traditional way. For something like this, it's quite straightforward. So acros and strong boys is adequate to do what we're doing. It's not that much of a big span either. We're talking about 4 meters of span is what we're dealing with. But there's some things to take into consideration, especially if you're putting a box frame in. If you're putting just a horizontal beam, it's a lot easier than putting a box frame, because you're not taking out some of the foundation, which we are doing today. So I'm going to show you why that's important and why you need to know the difference. So let's have a look at what we've got now, and I'm going to talk you through what we're going to be doing today. Cool. All right, let's run through this and let's see what we're doing. Right, so this is inside the building, inside the house. You can see we're taking that cabinet off, taking that window out there. Guys are just taking out this door and secure it. Yeah. Never mind. They're taking this door out now. Right. So what we're going to do is, so the thing we can take into consideration is we are taking out this section here. We're taking a little bit on the left here. Well, actually, we're going to take out, take it up to about where that flue is on the side. So probably about 40 mil off there. We're going to take about 200 mil off the top as well, off the top of this one. So probably about 3/4 or something like that. We're going to take off the top. And we're going to take a little bit off that reveal on that side as well. So if we were just putting a steel beam across, then all we need to worry about as far as supporting, we need to support the upstairs floor joists, which are obviously sitting on the internal course of this brickwork. So that's a lot of load on this wall. So we want to relieve the load off this area. So we'd have to support the ceiling here. We could put a bit of timber across and then put some acros underneath it, and do the same thing on this side here. Okay, then obviously we can take out all this middle section above here, and then we could get our steel beam in. Now the bottom of the acros, we could in most cases support it off the internal floor joist. So again, we would use some spreader timbers across and put our acros so that we don't have a single point load. We can spread it out, and we would have a couple of them here, like sort of every meter roughly is what I would normally do here. So probably have about 5 acros here. That would help us to support the upstairs floor joists onto this, spread it onto the downstairs floor. Okay, but the fact that we're doing a box frame, we need to take out some of the brickwork at the bottom here as well. We need to take out bricks underneath the door. Now these in the floor joist inside here, which you can see one of them, right here is a floor joist. They're running this way. They sit on the internal leaf of the brickwork. So if we knock all this brickwork out, then the ends of the floor here won't have anything to support on. And because of that, we can't just put the acros to support the ceiling on here, because the weight of it is basically going to be sitting on this, which is not going to be supported here. So what we need to do in this case is we need to take some of these floorboards up, and we're going to get our acros to go straight down to the ground and support them on the ground below, rather than them supported onto this floor joist. So that's one of the first things we need to do, open some of these up and get our acros right down. Hopefully our acros are tall enough. I'm not sure how deep it is under there. I don't think it's that deep, but we will see if we've got long enough acros. If not, we'll have to go get some longer ones. So that's that. So once we've supported the inside, we can support the external leaf from out here. We can do it from inside, but we've got to see how much space we've got. But ideally, we'll do it from the outside here. Other thing you have to bear in mind is maneuverability for the steels that you're going to put in. So you want to put your acros in a way that when you start to put steels in, you can actually be able to get the steels in between the acros and get them in. So we're going to have one horizontal steel. The first one we'll install will be the one that goes in the ground horizontally here. So we need to get that one in first, and that's going to be one of the heavier ones. Once we get that in, then we're going to put a column bolted to it here, and then we also need to put a column bolted to that one here. Once we've done that, then we will lift in place with a genie lift, the top one, which will be bolted on top of those two here. So that is the plan. So what we're going to do now is, as I said, we're going to take this door out. We can take this, we can start taking this section out because there's no support under here. So we're just going to start taking that out. While they're doing that, will give me time to set up the acros, and I'm going to start setting up the acros for this section here. So we'll probably put an acro here and an acro here to support the ceiling above, and we'll run them down into the ground, and then we'll be able to start taking up some of this section here. So yeah, I'm going to crack on with that. Alright guys, so quick update. We've been taking out some of this wall here. I want to show you guys something. So there's all these wall plates. There's a wall plate up here. There was a wall plate. There was a timber beam. That was the actual lintel. And there's another concrete lintel. There's a concrete lintel, a timber, like a 6x2, doubled up, sitting underneath this wall plate. Now on this side, there's another wall plate in the wall here for some reason. And then where this window was, you've got another wall plate with a little bit of steel plate underneath, if you guys can see. That little bit of steel plate here that runs underneath the brick. It's basically being supporting the whole of that wall here. But if you look at the bearing, talk about a bearing of about 10 mil on that timber. That is the steel here. And that's how much of it is sitting on that beam. So absolutely nothing. And you compared to what we have to do these days, that is literally all that's holding that up. So we're gonna take this off now, and we're gonna take as much of this out as we can. We need to put some more acros. I need to grab some more acros tomorrow. We've kind of done sort of 2/3 of the building, and the inside and the outside. So this is the inside, which you guys can see here. And I'll show you what we've done from the outside, which is a bit challenging because we basically had to open up the hole and push the strong boy from this side around to the other side because there wasn't enough space to get the strong boy in on that side. But we did manage to get it in. So if you can see here, we've got the strong boy in. And what we did is we got it down here onto the ground on concrete blocks. Same thing that we've done down here. And we've got another one here on a concrete block here. And you guys can see it's going through here. It's supporting the external wall. So we've got another one put in here. We've opened up the hole. Obviously we've got pipes here, so it's a little bit tricky. So what we're gonna have to do for this one, we've figured it out. We're gonna pop the strong boy from the inside and make sure it goes all the way to the outside. And the inside is a lot easier as well because the ground in the kitchen area is concrete. We realized it's a concrete floor here, so we haven't got to worry about getting it down below. So we just put a concrete block, rest it on that. Down in here, our acros weren't long enough because we have about 700 mil down. So what we've done is we've put in some 2x4s to the sides of these rafters here. We've screwed them into the rafters. We've put them onto concrete blocks down there, which you probably can't see. So they're sitting on concrete blocks. And then we've got this timber here sitting, there we go, a bit of light here. So you've got concrete block there. And then we've got one here. We've got one here. You can see the concrete block down there. And then we've got one there. And then we've got this timber beam sitting across all of them. And then we've got our acros sitting right above those beams on top of this. So this is transferring the load all the way down to that concrete block down below. And that is how we are holding up our first floor. And you can see we've got 3 acros in this section. So we just started doing that section here. We screwed them into the joist. So we found where the joists are. See, we've broken holes in the ceiling. We've got a joist screwed into the joist, so we've got the acro underneath the joist as well, just so to get the best stability. We'll obviously put here, and then we're gonna break through here and put the strong boy from this side, which will sit on the concrete floor, and that will support the external leaf from inside the house. So hope that makes sense, but that's basically what we're doing. So what we're doing, we're taking as much as we can here. Our steels actually arrived as well, which we weren't expecting. We just got a call saying your steels are on the way. So we were waiting to get a delivery date on those. So we've got 2 columns here, which are nice and light. 152s by 152s. These are 2 columns. And we've got these 2 massive ones. One of them is 372 kilograms. The other's 260 kilograms or something like that. So those are literally just come. So we're just bringing those in. So this bigger one is the steel that's going down below the foundation. That's going to be encased in concrete. Then we're going to have a column sitting either end, and then we've got this horizontal one that's going to sit on the top of the 2. So at least we've got the steel so we can double check our measurements and make sure we're all correct. But we try to see if we can get this all ready by tomorrow. It's 4 o'clock now, so hopefully we can get this all finished by tomorrow. Guys, quick update. This is pretty much the end of the day. We're going to show you guys what we managed to do. As I said, we're back on it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll get hopefully all this out and possibly try and start getting these steels in. So let's have a look. So here we go, that's the middle wall. We started taking out, we took out sort of the internal leaf of that wall pretty much, for most of it anyway. You can see how we found that there was another window in here. That's why that timber lintel was there. So there was another window. You can see the little arch on it here, brickwork, soldier course. And this has been all filled up with concrete and also, so we've got to break that off. But this is pretty much where we're stopping. So I said we need to put another acro on the outside on that side. Then we need to put an acro here. And then we're going to another acro on the inside for the external leaf. But that is pretty much where we're at. And otherwise we'll be good to go. So we've taken this one here all the way down to here. So tomorrow, I said once we prop the rest of this up, once that's propped up, we can literally bash and knock this external leaf wall down. So that will come down quite easily. And all we've got to do is, again, then we can, we're pretty much ready to take this concrete lintel down now. Well, when we put that acro in, we'll take this concrete lintel down, take that soldier course, that sort of arch there out. It's pretty much where our steel is going to go, is where that soldier course is. It's pretty much going to run along here. And our steel, so we need to take off all this top brickwork all the way down to there. And on this side here, we've got to take about 200 mil, I think, off the reveal here on this side here. And that's pretty much it. So then we need to take the foundation down lower, which is partly as well why we put in these vertical 2x4s in to sort of support the roof, support the floor area, because as I mentioned earlier in the video, right in the beginning, you can see here you've got a joist sitting on the internal leaf of blockwork or brickwork. Now we're taking out the internal and the external. It's a 9-inch wall, so we're going to take that whole thing down. So these eventually will be floating in the air. But when we put our steels in, which will go below, we'll pack up underneath the steels and underneath these joists. Probably going to have a row of brick or something like that. And then that will then pick up the ends of these joists here. So that is also something we're going to try and do tomorrow. But now we've got our steels, we can make sure we're 100% correct. And we start taking some of this down. Once we do get this in, we will, when we install it, we've got to wrap it in mesh, got to box it in and encase it in concrete, and then we can get an inspection. We actually did have building control in today. They actually passed the steels for the bifold. They checked that. They checked our drainage. They passed that as well, and also checked on the roof as well. So they're pretty much happy with everything. So we said, yeah, it's looking good. He said, just let him know once we've got those steels in and we've got the insulation in the ceiling, the insulation's in, let him know in, he'll come in and have a look. And then he said after that, we're pretty much home free really after that. So we just want to get these steels in as soon as possible. Insulation is easy. Once we get that passed in, we're pretty much ready to start putting plasterboard in and all that stuff. So yeah, moving along. So anyway, guys, we are off now. That's it for today. It's 5 o'clock. We shall see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Take care. Thanks for watching.